You hear that, don't you? That voice in your head. The one that's been screaming at you every time you take a breath. Telling you it's over before you even begin. Telling you this fight isn't worth it. It laughs every time you step forward. Whispers every doubt you've ever buried. It knows every fear, every weakness, every scar you've been hiding. And you believe it, don't deny it. You've been listening to it for so long, it's practically you now. That voice? It's comfortable, it's familiar. It's the one thing that's never left. But let me tell you something. It's a liar. A parasite. Feeding off your failures. And you've been letting it win, haven't you? You sit there, drowning in your own excuses. Every moment wasted, convincing yourself there's time, there's a reason, there's a chance it'll all fix itself. But it won't. Nothing fixes itself. Nothing gets better on its own. Life doesn't hand out miracles to people like you. You think anyone's coming to save you? No one's looking your way. No one even notices. And why should they? You made yourself invisible. A shadow clinging to the edges, too afraid to stand in the light. You tell yourself it's safer there, easier, but it's not. It's a prison you built brick by brick, and now you're too scared to tear it down. So, you stay. Stay silent. Stay small. Stay nothing. You know what that makes you? Weak. Weak because you let the weight break you instead of carrying it. Weak because you'd rather stay shattered than put yourself back together. Weak because you'd rather sit in the dark than risk reaching for the light. And don't tell me you've tried. Trying isn't enough. Trying is what people say when they've already given up. You think effort counts? Effort doesn't matter if there's no result. No one cares how much you've struggled. They only care what you've done. And right now, you've done nothing. Nothing but waste time and make excuses. Oh, you've had it hard. You've been hurt. You've been betrayed. Guess what? So has everyone else. The world doesn't stop for your pain. It doesn't pause for your tears. It keeps moving, grinding you down until there's nothing left. And you're letting it. You've been sitting in this pit, waiting for someone to pull you out. But no one's coming. No one cares if you sink or swim. They'll step over your corpse and keep walking. The only hand that's ever gonna pull you out of this is your own. But you don't believe that, do you? You'd rather wallow, rather stay broken, because fixing yourself takes work, takes pain. And you're afraid of pain, aren't you? You're not gonna make it. Not if you keep living like this. Not if you keep feeding that voice, letting it grow stronger while you grow smaller. Every time you hesitate, it wins. Every time you quit, it grows. And one day, it'll take over completely. Then what? You'll look back and realize you lost the fight before it even began. But here's the thing. You can stop it. Right now. This second. You can shut that voice up. You can stand up, drag yourself out of this pit and start climbing. It'll hurt. It'll break you. But what's the alternative? Stay here, rotting in your own misery, waiting for a miracle that's never gonna come. Get up. No one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna hand you a better life. You have to take it. Rip it from the jaws of every excuse, every doubt, every fear that's been holding you back. Fight for it, like it's the last thing you'll ever do. Because it is. You think this is hard? Life's only gonna get harder. But if you can't handle this, you're already done. You'll keep falling, keep breaking, keep losing until there's nothing left. Is that what you want? To be nothing? No. You don't want that. You want to rise, to be better, to be someone. But wanting it isn't enough. You have to bleed for it, sweat for it, break for it, because nothing worth having comes without a price. And you've been too afraid to pay it. Well, fear's not an excuse anymore. Pain's not an excuse. Failure's not an excuse. There are no excuses left. Just choices. You either get up and fight, or you stay down and rot. Simple as that. You think you've hit rock bottom? Good. That means there's nowhere to go but up. But you have to climb. Hand over hand, inch by inch, until your muscles give out and your breath burns. Then you keep going. Because the truth is, you're never gonna make it. If you don't try, you're never gonna make it. If you keep giving up, you're never gonna make it. If you let that voice win. But if you fight, if you push, if you refuse to quit, no matter how much it hurts, then maybe, just maybe, you'll prove that voice wrong. What's it gonna be? Are you gonna sit there, pretending the world owes you something? Pretending that someone somewhere is gonna notice you and hand you a lifeline? Because they won't. They never will. Nobody cares. You know that already. Deep down, you've known it your entire life. And yet, here you are, wasting another minute, another hour, another day. You're stuck in this cycle, thinking that time will fix you, that waiting will heal you. But let me ask you, how long have you been waiting? How many years have you thrown away, hoping for change that never came? You don't have time. You never did. Every second you waste is a second you'll never get back. Every breath you take is one closer to your last. And you want to spend it like this, waiting, wishing, hoping. You want your legacy to be regret. No one's going to look back and remember you if you don't give them a reason to. You'll be forgotten, erased. Another nameless shadow that came and went without leaving a mark. Is that what you want? To fade away like you were never here? Because if that's the case, keep doing what you're doing. Keep sitting there, wallowing in self-pity, letting every opportunity slip through your fingers. Keep telling yourself it's too hard, too late, too much. Keep feeding that voice until it consumes you completely. But if you want more, if you want to be more, then it's time to shut up and move. Get up. Do something. Anything. Because standing still is the same as dying. And you're not dead yet. Not unless you decide to be. Don't you dare say it's impossible. Don't you dare tell yourself it's too far, too steep, too out of reach. That's the lie. That's the trap. You think success comes easy? You think greatness falls into the laps of the lazy and the weak? No. It's earned. Every inch, every step, every bloody broken bone along the way. It's earned. And you're afraid of the cost, afraid of the pain, afraid of the sacrifice. But tell me, what's the alternative? Stay comfortable? Stay safe? There's no safety here. Not in this world, not in this life. Comfort is a lie. And you've been living in it for too long. The truth. The truth is ugly. It's cruel. It doesn't care about your feelings or your fears. It doesn't care how much you've suffered, how many nights you've cried, how many times you've fallen. The truth is this: no one is coming to save you. You're alone. Always have been. Always will be. But that's not a curse. That's freedom. It means you don't owe anyone anything. It means you don't have to wait for permission, for approval, for someone to tell you you're good enough. You decide that. You decide when to move, when to fight, when to rise. But you've been running from that freedom, haven't you? You've been hiding behind every excuse, every failure, every scar. You've been using them as shields, pretending they protect you, when all they do is hold you back. You're not broken. Stop saying that. Stop believing it. You're not broken. You're afraid. Afraid of what you could be. Afraid of the power you hold, because if you admit you're not broken, then you have no excuses left. Then it's all on you. And that terrifies you, doesn't it? The idea that you could be more. The idea that you could succeed if you just tried harder, fought harder, bled harder. Because if you could, then all this time, all this wasted time, would be your fault. Well, it is your fault. Let that sink in. Every failure, every missed opportunity, every moment you let slip by, it's on you, not the world, not your circumstances, not your pain. You made the choice to stop. You made the choice to quit. But here's the thing. Just like you made those choices, you can make different ones. Right now, you can choose to get up, choose to fight, choose to rise, no matter how many times you've fallen. You're not a victim. Stop acting like one. The world doesn't owe you anything, and it never will. If you want something, you take it. If you want to be someone, you become it. There's no magic, no secret, no shortcut. Just work. Just pain. Just a fight that never ends. And maybe you won't win. Maybe you'll fall and fall again and again, until there's nothing left of you. But even if that happens, at least you tried. At least you didn't die lying down. 'Cause that's the only choice that matters. To fight, or to surrender. And if you surrender now, you're already dead. You'll spend the rest of your life as a ghost, haunting the life you could have had, the person you could have been. But if you fight, if you claw, and bleed and break, and rise, then maybe, just maybe, you'll find out who you really are. Maybe you'll look back and realize that voice in your head was wrong. What's it gonna be? Are you going to keep telling yourself the same lies? Keep holding on to the same excuses like they're some kind of armor? Look at yourself. Look at where you are. Everything you're not. Everything you failed to do. It's staring right back at you. And it's not going to look away. It'll haunt you until the day you take your last breath. Whispering, mocking, reminding you of everything you could have been if you just fought harder. You've got one shot at this, one life, and you're wasting it. Every second you spend hesitating, doubting, running, is a second you'll never get back. You think you've got time? You don't. None of us do. Time is the one thing you can't fight, can't stop, can't control. It keeps moving and it doesn't care how tired you are, how broken you feel, or how many times you've been knocked down. You know what time respects? Action. Movement. Fighting back. It respects the ones who refuse to quit. The ones who rise up no matter how many times they've been beaten down. Time doesn't wait for anyone, but it rewards the ones who chase it, who grab it by the throat and squeeze every last second out of it. So stop sitting there like it's all going to change on its own. It won't. Nothing changes until you make it change. Nothing moves until you move. And right now you're not moving. You're stuck, frozen, paralyzed by your own fear. Fear of failing. Fear of falling. Fear of the unknown. But let me tell you something about fear. It's a liar. It's a thief. It steals your time, your potential, your life. And the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. The more you let it control you, the weaker you become. You think you're protecting yourself by playing it safe? By staying in your little comfort zone where nothing can hurt you? You're not. You're killing yourself. Slowly. Piece by piece. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, safety over risk, you lose a part of yourself. And one day, you'll wake up and realize there's nothing left. No fire. No fight. No passion. Just a hollow shell of the person you were supposed to be. And by then, it'll be too late. You'll be too far gone to claw your way back. But right now you've still got a chance. A sliver of hope. A spark of something deep inside you that refuses to die, no matter how many times you've tried to bury it. You can feel it, can't you? That small, stubborn part of you that knows you're meant for more. That knows you can be more if you just stop running from it. That spark, that's your only shot. Your only weapon against the voice in your head that tells you you're nothing. But you have to feed it. You have to fan it into a flame, into a fire so strong that it burns away every doubt, every fear, every excuse. And that's not gonna be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. You're gonna have to fight for it. You're gonna have to bleed for it. You're gonna have to push yourself harder than you ever thought possible. And then push some more. But you can do it. You've always been able to do it. You've just been too scared to try. Too scared to fail. But let me ask you this. What's worse? Failing? Or never even trying? 'Cause if you fail, at least you know you gave it everything you had. At least you can look yourself in the mirror and say you didn't quit. But if you never try, if you let fear win, then you've already failed. And that's the truth, isn't it? That's what's been eating at you all this time. Not the fear of failing, but the fear of never even starting. The fear that you'll live your entire life as a spectator, watching everyone else fight for their dreams, while you sit on the sidelines, too afraid to join the game. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep watching? Keep waiting? Keep wasting every second you've got left? Or are you gonna stand up, step onto that field, and fight like hell for the life you want? You're never gonna make it if you don't. That's the cold, hard truth. The voice in your head, it's right about one thing. You're never gonna make it if you keep living like this. But it's wrong about everything else. Because you can make it. You can rise. You can fight. You can win. But only if you start now. Only if you stop listening to the lies and start believing in the fire inside you. Only if you stop waiting for someone to save you and save yourself. So get up. Move. Fight. Prove that voice wrong. Prove yourself wrong. Prove to the world, to everyone who's ever doubted you, that you're more than they ever thought possible. Because you are. You've always been more. Now it's time to show it. Keep climbing. Keep fighting. Keep proving every voice, every doubt, every fear wrong. You've got this. You've always had this. So go. Do it. Be it. Now. Because there's nothing else. There's no tomorrow, no second chances, no magical turning point. It's here. It's now. And it's waiting for you to make the decision. The decision to fight. The decision to break free. The decision to become everything you're capable of being. You think you're alone in this? You're not. Everyone has their battles, their demons, their scars. But the difference is, some people fight while others surrender. And you're at the crossroads. You've been sitting here too long, staring down both paths, paralyzed by indecision. One path leads back to the same life you've been living, safe, predictable, empty. A life of mediocrity, where you settle for less, make excuses for your failures, and die with regret as your only companion. The other path? It's steep. It's brutal. It'll tear you apart, break you down, push you past every limit you thought you had. But at the end of it, there's freedom. There's power. There's the version of you that you've been too scared to meet. But here's the thing. No one's going to force you to choose. No one's going to drag you down the right path. You have to want it. You have to want it more than you're afraid of it. And that's the test, isn't it? How badly do you want it? Because talk is cheap. Dreams are cheap. Everyone wants something, but only a few are willing to bleed for it. And if you're not willing to bleed, then you don't really want it, do you? You want the result, but you don't want the process. You want the success, but you don't want the sacrifice. You want the glory, but you don't want the grind. And that's why you're stuck. That's why you've been running in circles, chasing shadows, going nowhere. But here's the truth. The grind doesn't care how you feel. The grind doesn't care if you're tired, if you're scared, if you failed before. It's still there, waiting for you to show up. And until you do, nothing changes. You can keep pretending you're trying. Keep convincing yourself you're doing enough. But deep down, you know the truth. You know you're holding back. You know you're playing it safe. And you know that safe is just another word for stagnant. So stop. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending that half effort is enough. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan. It doesn't exist. There's only now. Only this moment, this choice, this fight. And it's not gonna wait for you. The world doesn't stop because you're scared. Life doesn't pause while you figure it out. Every second you hesitate, someone else is moving forward. Someone else is taking the spot you could have had. Living the life you could have lived. That's the reality. It's harsh. It's unforgiving. But it's the truth. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner you can start fighting back. Because that's what it takes. Fighting. Every day. Every moment. It's a war, and it never ends. But if you can't handle the fight, then you don't deserve the reward. And don't think for a second that anyone's going to hand it to you. No one's going to see your potential and pull you up. No one's going to fix your problems or carry your weight. It's all on you. That's what scares you the most, isn't it? The responsibility, the accountability, the knowledge that if you fail, there's no one to blame but yourself. But guess what? That's also your power. Because if it's all on you, then no one can take it from you. No one can decide your fate but you. No one can stop you but you. So stop standing in your own way. Stop being your own worst enemy. Stop letting fear, doubt, and failure dictate your life. You've got the power to change it. Right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. Because you'll never feel ready. You'll never have enough time, enough resources, enough confidence. There will always be a reason to wait, a reason to quit, a reason to stay the same. But none of those reasons matter. What matters is what you do in spite of them. What matters is that you keep moving. Keep fighting, keep pushing, no matter how hard it gets. Because it will get hard. It'll hurt. It'll break you. But that's the point. That's how you grow. That's how you become stronger, better, unstoppable. And when you look back, you'll see that every scar, every failure, every moment of doubt was worth it. Because it brought you here. It made you who you are. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop giving yourself permission to quit. Get up. Move. Fight. Because you're never gonna make it if you don't. And the only thing worse than failing is never trying at all. Now's your chance. Take it, or lose it forever.